Hey everyone, it's Michael Robbins, November 23rd, 2020. And this is going to be kind of a short one today. Nothing major has happened in the past 24 hours, but you just, you, you got to make a record of what it was like living in these days, right? So, gosh, November 23rd, we are 20 days past the election. Um, the outgoing President Trump has not conceded, and he's convinced many of his followers that the election wasn't secure and it was fraudulent, and um, some folks are even, worried about civil war. Um, and On the other hand, there's constant news about COVID and the vaccine, and um, we can. Why don't we just maybe pop into let's pop into Nasdaq. And you can kind of see what this has been like. Um, so we had the big dip in March, and wow, yeah, Nasdaq. Yeah, hit that peak, came back a little bit, but is still going really strong. Um, and what's interesting about this is that, right, there were some vaccine announcements around here that we'll see later, but it's kind of a moving target, right? The first vaccine was not really that shelf stable, but there's new vaccine news. And that seems to be driving some optimism. Um, but I guess you kind of wonder if it's short term, if there is going to be a realization that um, very few people will be able to get the vaccine in 2021. I mean, Pfizer's was supposed to be what, like 12 million Americans. Um, so yeah, I mean, even one of those other vaccines had another 12 million, and we're getting to 24 or 30 million. I mean, we're still only 10% of the population. Um, so huge boom in second quarter of 2021 if vaccines are effective. And see, I'm not so sure about that. I mean, it seems that the vaccines are effective enough. It just takes so much time to make a billion doses. Yeah. And we'll wait to see what's going to happen. But I don't know. I mean, would the economy really awaken out of promise of a vaccine? I mean, people are going to have to take the vaccine. A lot of people are going to have to take the vaccine to get anything close to herd immunity. Economists urge Congress to send out a second round of stimulus checks. U.S. economy projected to shrink in the first quarter as coronavirus cases surge. Um, and yeah, it's there. If we come over, let me see. What's that? Data. See if I can find this here. Um, Essentially, the chart shows that we're kind of coming back up to where we were, and it makes you wonder, like, well, why does the stock market look the way it does? That it um, it had this massive tank, a month or so before the first peak of the first wave hit, but it seems very casual about this second wave. Um, and I guess some of the data shows this second wave being worse than the first. Some of the data shows it being equivalent. Um, see if there's anything more over on MSNBC. Trump had recently invited some legislators from Michigan to the White House to try to convince them to change the election. More of the right wing is standing up against the claims, but they're afraid to, because Trump's base is so strong. They don't want to, be hated by Trump supporters and Democrats. So those Republicans are walking a fine line. Interestingly, not too much in Seeking Alpha. I thought this was curious. Where was the mining stocks? Where was that? Gold mining to 4-month lows. So gold was really taken off. Yeah, so here we were March. As you can see, gold tanked just with the stock market, but rebounded faster and really, really took off. I mean, gosh, what is that? 140 to, like 190, and then down at 180. Right before they announce. So yeah, a lot of the market these days has been about announcements of the vaccine. There's still not a great deal about um, correlating the election with the market. Um, One thing I saw was the Twitter. Twitter is committed to handing over the presidential account, the POTUS account, to Biden on Inauguration Day. And it's funny because usually you'd think, well, who cares about some account? But in this case, it almost feels like Twitter is the final say about who won the presidential election. If Twitter decides it's Joe Biden and they pass the mantle of the POTUS Twitter account, well, you won. That's it. Whoever has the Twitter account must be the president. It seems a bit like that. So we'll hang out for a few days and see if he concedes, see if he's gets dragged out of the White House. They've said that they're going to show evidence of voter fraud in a couple weeks, so still waiting to see what that could be. But it's a crazy time. Giuliani, I mean, last time he did a press conference, it was in the back of a lawn mowing company, and now he had all this hair dye dripping down his face. It's been really, really intense. Oh, and then Fox News. Let's come over to Fox News. So, the story about Fox News is they're trying to say, hey, we're real news, and they will push back when, some of the Trump supporters make unsubstantiated claims. But now Fox is losing its luster as the safe haven for the right, and like America One and some of these other right-wing media outlets are capturing that audience. So it's also been interesting to see Fox trying to stand up for truth and integrity in journalism, yet at the same time they're realizing, they may not have much of a market if they try to take a more moderate stance. Yeah, absolutely wild. So hang in there, and yeah, you're wondering about that hindsight 2020 says, go back to sleep.